And with the dulcet tones of recording in progress, we'll come to order at 6:31 p.m. here on August 15th. Welcome, everyone. All right. So, Rebecca, would you please give us a roll call?
All right, sure. All right, Lauren Dean.
I am here.
Pat Wright.
Pat's here. We can see him.
I thought Pat was here.
Yeah,
Okay,
totally
I'm
okay.
here.
I'm not looking at
Sorry.
that.
I have too
All
many
right.
tabs open, but let me mute myself again. I'm here.
All right.
Muted.
Rebecca Lau, I am here. All right, Chris Miniletti, are you here?
I am here.
All right, Joe Dean.
I'm here.
All right, Mary Beth Yuskavids, are you here? Is Mary Beth here?
I don't see her.
All right. All right, Brandon Jackson.
I'm here trying to get my camera to work.
Terry Floyd.
I see Terry, but he's on mute.
Fine. Well, I'll just come back to Terry later.
Yeah.
Maybe he can unmute.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
June. Is it June Jenis? I don't know how to say anybody's name. Sorry.
You're right.
June, are you here? You're okay.
I'm here, and you pronounced it correctly.
Mark Hinkle.
Present.
All right, Brian Holtz.
Here.
Lauren Samuels.
Here.
Dave Schrader. Is Dave here?
Yes.
Yes, he is here. All right, Richard Stafford. Okay, is Tara Young?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, let me just go back. Terry, are you here?
I'm here.
All right, great. Is Richard Stafford here? All right, I guess not.
I'm still on my foot. I go into my foot. Oh my God.
Did you miss Mary Beth
Mary Beth is
Yuskavich?
here. Yes, Mary Beth is here. I'll change it.
Okay, thank you. I had a hard time finding this link, sorry.
All right. Is Francisco here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, great. And Paul, are you here?
I am indeed here.
Great. And it looks like everybody's here except for Richard.
Oh, pretty good.
All right, that is really excellent attendance. Well done, all. We're doing a great job right out of the gate. I think that
we do have a
mean
standard for Richard, though. Richard Brown is here. Because you need a
that's right.
parliamentarian.
The Richard Caucus is represented here in the meeting. I think though we're gonna go ahead and seat then Francisco as the first alternate. We'll go ahead and he'll be voting for Richard Stafford. All right, so the Rebecca put the agenda in the chat. Has everybody gotten a chance to pop that open so that they all have it in front of them? We'll entertain a motion to adopt that agenda at this time.
Mark, so moved.
So moved by Mark, second to adopt the agenda.
Lauren Samuels.
All right, thank you, Lawrence. Is there any objection to adopting this agenda? All right, hearing none, we will call the agenda adopted. Thank you. Let's go ahead and launch into the most dangerous part of the meeting, public comment. We'll go ahead and take 10 minutes. And so if you are a member not on the executive committee and you would like to say something for a couple of minutes, go ahead and raise your hand, please. Going once. Oh, Richard Brown has raised his hand. All right, Richard, go ahead and unmute. You have 2 minutes.
Well, I'm not going to take anywhere near 2 minutes. Just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Richard Brown. I have served as the parliamentarian for the California Party for about the last 6 years, for every convention for the last 5 or 6 years, except this last one. And I'm here tonight just sitting in to offer whatever help I can be. If you need me, call on me. And it's nice to see everybody. And I'm impressed with this board. So, but if I can help, just call on me. That's it. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. All right, we'll close public comment. Thank you all very much. All right, we need to approve the June Executive Committee minutes. Has anybody gotten a chance to look at the June Executive Committee minutes?
Have they been amended per Joe Dean's recommendations?
The June committee minutes would have been the
Not
last
June, excuse me,
executive
excuse me,
committee meeting
excuse me,
before
I'm not
convention.
referring- He didn't
Yeah.
comment in June. I was
Right.
jumping ahead.
Right. I think those minutes are pretty straightforward. I don't know if there's anything really to do with those. So we'll entertain a motion to go ahead and adopt those minutes.
I think I should abstain because I wasn't there.
Most of us weren't there.
And most of us were not. Well, I'll go ahead and move that we adopt the minutes from the June Executive Committee meeting, since I don't know if I was there, to be honest, but so there you go.
Should say in the minutes.
It should say in the minutes. You're absolutely right. Is there a second to approve those minutes?
Mark, second.
Mark seconds that. Is there any objection to approving those June Executive Committee minutes? All right, we'll call those approved. All right, let's look at the convention minutes. This is a biggie. I know that there has been a couple of draft minutes pieces. Looks like Joe posted up a couple of things here. Joe, do you want to speak to your modifications?
Yeah, I had 3 things. They're all pretty minor. One is at the beginning when we approved the when we reinstated Richard Fast's membership, the motion said it was conditional on certain things happening, and then it immediately says that the delegate count, as a consequence, got incremented by 1. The reason for that is that the Credentials Committee yelled out from the back, yes, he has paid his dues, and yes, he's registered Libertarian. So I propose that we just insert a sentence or a clause or something. I provided wording in that message, somewhere between the statement of the motion and the fact that it went up to 62, that says the Credentials Committee confirmed that these conditions were satisfied. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense that it went up by 1. So I move to insert that clause into the appropriate spot.
All right, so I just copied and popped into the chat that first motion from your email, Joe. Is that a fair summation of what you're looking to do?
If it's what I put in my message, then yeah,
Well, there you go. Okay.
Seconded.
I just want to insert the words, the Credentials Committee confirmed that the conditions were met. That's all. And it can have a capital T or not, depending on whether it's made a separate sentence or it's stuck into the existing sentence. It should just be before the words, before the clause that says the number went up to 62.
All right, that's a fair motion. And then who seconded that? Somebody shouted it out.
June.
June was on it. All right, I have a second from June. Is there any objection to going ahead and modifying that language per the motion that's in the chat there? Okay. All right. And then.
So my second thing is in the reporting of the election results. There's in the election of Northern Area Coordinator, there were 2 candidates and 2 numbers were announced. One for the first person who got the most votes, which was me, and the other for the other candidate. But the minutes say that the second number was for NODA, and that's not what happened. It's for Richard Stafford. So it's just.
All right, so I just put that into the chat as well so that Rebecca can copy that over. Motion from Joe there to amend that language on page 53. Is there a second for that?
Mark, second.
I second.
All right, Mark seconded that. Oh, he beat you to it, Lawrence. All right, so Mark seconded that. Any objection to changing that language there? Well, all right, we'll call that approved then, with no objection. Even though Noda has attended this meeting instead of Richard Stafford, he'll be very pleased that he got those votes assigned to him properly in the minutes. All right, and then go ahead, Joe.
The third thing is toward the end of Mimi's trying to get various of her bylaws proposals through. There's a line that says that she moved to suspend the rules to amend proposal 11 or something without debate or something, and that was shot down. And then she moved. Then she separately moved to bring it up and debate it. The word amend doesn't make sense there. I think what she was trying to do was move to adopt it without debate. So I propose, unless anybody remembers differently. Mimi, do you remember differently? And the word amend doesn't make any sense. I think it was she moved to adopt proposals 11.
Richard is showing a thumbs up.
Richard is showing a thumbs up. Okay, all right.
What I did was I moved to amend. I moved to suspend the rules to adopt the proposal, and the parliamentarian said that that was out of order. So therefore, I did not do that. I instead moved to suspend the rules, which was then voted on, and then I
Right, but the
proposed
problem is that the
proposal.
way it's recorded in the minutes, it says the first one, you move to amend proposal 11. It should say adopt and not amend. That's just, the secretary
Correct,
just
yes.
typed the wrong word that began with A. So I moved to
You are correct.
replace that word.
All right, so the motion is to replace that word. Second for that?
Mark, second.
Mark jumped on that with a second. All right, any objection to going ahead and making that change in the minutes? Okay. All right, thank you very much for that. With that in mind, we'll go ahead and does anybody else have a change they want to see made? Does anybody else have an issue with the convention minutes as laid out? Okay, then we'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved, Mark.
All right, Mark went ahead and moved that. And a second from June. Was that June again? Alrighty. So we got a motion and a second. Any objection to approving the convention minutes? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and call those minutes approved. Moving right along, let's talk about the post-convention minutes. Joe, I think you have a comment on that as well.
Yes, I know there was some discussion of exactly the procedure we used for appointing June to the operations committee, but I think it was very clear that that's what we were doing, and we should have that in the minutes, should reflect that. So my proposal is to add a paragraph and a section heading, because everything else seems to have a section heading. The section heading would be appointment of operations committee, and then the text would read, there was discussion of the need to appoint a fifth member of the operations committee, 4 of the positions being defined but in the bylaws as being occupied by the officers. The chair asked for volunteers, and the only volunteer was June Jennis. June Jennis was appointed as the 5th member of the operations committee without objection. So I move to amend the minutes by inserting that.
Second.
With that change in mind, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve those post-convention minutes. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Mark went ahead and moved that thing. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Second from Terry. Is that what I'm seeing? All right. Second from Terry Floyd. And any objection to approving those post-convention minutes? All right, hearing no objection, we'll call those minutes approved. All right, that will skip us over the affirm OPSCOM action for June Genus, since we disposed of that. All right, let's move to the consideration and approval of Convention 2026 bids. Those went out with emails earlier. Has everybody gotten a chance to take a look at that? All right. Is there discussion that people feel like they want to have about that? I think that they're two reasonably compelling bids. I got to admit it's hard to argue with free, but I know that there are some folks who are very concerned about having something down in the South.
Yes, I definitely think we should go for someplace near an airport, and the South deserves one after we had to drive between 7 and 10 hours to get to the last one. So, I really appreciate what Chris has been doing for the party, but we can't keep going to San Adele all the time. And I think that we will this is an important convention because we're going to be electing convention delegates. I think we will get more people in San Diego than we would in Santanella. And I don't really think that we're going to incur any cost that isn't more than made up for by the additional revenue we bring in. So my vote will be for San Diego.
Those are reasonable points. For myself, I feel like there is a substantial donor relations benefit to going ahead and taking Chris up on his offer, and it's hard to argue with free.
May I?
Sure,
Eight,
Pat.
8.5 hour drive from San Diego. I'll challenge free anytime. It was a challenging drive, and to do it in February, going over the Grapevine. No, San Diego is right by the airport. I know Mission Valley very well. I really hope people will do San Diego because I can't even pronounce it. By Los Baños is where I tell people I went. It was a miserable drive.
I-5 is kind of like Mad Max. That's certainly true. Joe.
So it appears that we have two competing proposals, each that have been submitted to us by somebody who is not a member of the executive committee. Would it be reasonable to allow each of them to give a, I don't know, 5-minute or something presentation explaining why they think their proposal is better?
Well, that certainly seems reasonable. Does anyone have an objection to hearing from Mimi Robson and Barbara Engelhardt for 5 minutes apiece on this? All right.
So I
Okay.
I will just say that I think we should not, whatever decision we make, we should not view, if we decide to go with San Diego, I don't think that should be in any way taken as a criticism or dissatisfaction with what Chris Rufer gave us in Santanella. I think that was wonderful, and I hope we go back there for something again. I think we should make our decision about a particular convention separate from the question of whether it's a nice place.
All right. Well, Mimi, why don't you go ahead and take 5 minutes and tell us about San Diego? Mimi, are you there? You're on mute.
Yeah, I'm trying. I had my phone muted, not the meeting muted, so I apologize that it took me a second. Yeah, I would actually like to speak to it. I think that, a lot of it has already been said, and I sent several emails about this, but I think that accessibility for the members statewide is very important, and San Diego is far more convenient for, frankly, everybody, because there's easy plane access for people in the north, and it's much closer for people in the south. We have also had the tradition of alternating between the north and the south because we want to make it accessible to different people in different parts of the state. Santanella, I know that some say that maybe it could possibly take less time to get there, but I can tell you that it took me 3.5 hours just to get out of Los Angeles on Friday to get there. So it's not an easy drive. So I will say that it is going to cost $100 or $1,500 for the meeting room, which I believe will be more than made up with donations. And I will personally go out and solicit donations for that even, but I don't think it's a problem because I think that we will more than make up to that. The other thing is that for the AV and live stream, we had very limited AV at the last convention, and Vertigo Entertainment, because it's closer to where he is willing to come and do what he's done in the past, which is pretty amazing, including the live stream at no cost. I mean, I said that I'd like to, you know, personally fundraise to pay for, you know, at least some of his costs, but that's not something he's asking the party of. And I think that it will get stronger turnout and engagement, which I think is very important. The biggest difference between the two proposals is the $1,500. That is actually the only difference. And in speaking to the donor, I spoke to Chris yesterday and I spoke to Chris today, because I called him because I wanted to make sure that he understood that, you know, this was nothing against him. I thank Barbara and Chris so much for what they did for this year's convention. I thought it was amazing, and it was exactly what the party needed for this year's convention. But to have it there a second time in a row, it was very difficult. It was a small convention. Another thing to mention is that the meeting room at the hotel in San Diego, the Handerly, it is 500 square feet larger. Per the Mission de Ora website, that room that we were in does not hold 200 classroom seating. It holds 200 for theater seating. I don't know that we'll have 200, but I think we will certainly have more than 100. And, you know, it was pretty crowded with the less than 100 that we had this year. So I think that that's something to consider. And last but not least, I saw earlier that it was mentioned that this is a B hotel. I will 100% admit that the Handerly is an older hotel. It's been around for many, many years. It's family owned and has always been family owned. However, it's a very nice hotel. I went to the 2022 convention in San Diego there, and the food was very good. The banquet room was very nice. Brandon, who I've been working with on this, went to the site and I sent photos. He looked at the guest rooms. He looked at the meeting rooms. They're all very nice. And if you look at Yelp reviews, people like the different amenities there, and especially the pool. So I think that, you know, dissing it because it's a B isn't really fair. And I think that there's always other things to consider. Again,
we're at time.
Mission de Oro is a lovely hotel. So I don't want to make Barbara feel bad about that, but thank you very much for the time.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, I was very surprised, and I continue to be surprised that that there is a unwillingness to take Chris up on this offer. I had so many people approach me at this convention and say, this is a wonderful hotel, it's a wonderful venue, we would love to have it here. To me, it seems like, I mean, fair doesn't really resonate much for me, simply because I think, you know, life is not fair, and I don't really get too hung up on fair. I did, though, in my email, if anyone had a chance to read my email, and I kind of think people have already made up their minds, but just in case they haven't, I did find out in my email that I send out all of the distances. Now, if you leave during rush hour, I imagine this isn't going to be accurate, but it's 1 3/4 hours from Sacramento, 5 hours from LA, 6.5 hours from San Diego, 2 hours from San Francisco, 1 1/4 hours from San Jose, 2.5 hours from Bakersfield, 1.5 hour from 2.5 hours from 1.5 hours from Fresno, 6.5 hours from Eureka, 5.5 hours from Long Beach, 1 3/4 hours from Oakland, 5.5 hours from Wairika. And this is off of a site that I always use that gets me exactly where it says that it says it wants to get me, and exactly the time that it says it's going to get me there. So, like I say, if you leave at rush hour, I imagine that would be different. The cost is going to be substantially different. I think the meals are going to be cheaper, especially the cost for each individual person. The cost also for the party. The hosted bar, they're going to charge us $0. The occupancy tax is $0. The parking cost is $0. Security cost is $0. Technical support is $0. Traffic in surrounding areas is basically nil. I think the out of pocket for each person is going to be a lot less. Now, as far as the drive, I realize some people don't have cars and some people have trouble driving. I drove to Las Vegas. I've driven to Las Vegas for Freedom Fest. I drove to Las Vegas. I've driven to every convention down in Southern Cal except one. So to me, I mean, a 5-hour drive, a 6-hour drive, a 3-hour drive, to me, that's not as big of a deal, but I realize for some people that is very problematic. As far as the AV, we're going to dial, well, we would, if we had it there, we would dial all these things in. Anything that was not right at the last convention, we will address. Part of the problem was a couple of people were not there that weekend, and we have enough time now. We pulled it together pretty quickly. We have enough time now that we'd make sure that everybody was there. The support people that we need. It is a beautiful hotel. It is a beautiful venue. I'm trying to look at what else we've got here. The prices that they've given us for these meals are outstanding. Like I say, the cost for each individual, not only that, the cost for the party, as I said already, would undoubtedly be lower. I like the idea, and Chris thought it was a great idea too, of just doing it in Santa Nella from now on. It's in the center of the state. And the other thing that occurs to me is that all the energy and time that people have put into this, when they could be putting that energy and time into other activist pursuits, you know, and just leave this to me, which is kind of my forte, and then all those other things that we need to do in the state or in counties or nationally, other people could put their energy into. So I don't exactly know what else I could say. I'm looking at my email here to see if I've missed anything. Yeah, and Chris was pretty excited about the idea. His staff was pretty excited about the idea. And I think it would get better and better every time we did it there, as we dialed it in, as I said. Not much else to say.
All right, thank you. I have a quick question, just for my own information. Mimi, you said Vertigo. That's James Schumacher? That's James Schumacher's company, Vertigo? Okay, if he wants to do the AV for the convention, then we need an actual contract from him. He's reneged on a handshake deal before and cost us $6,000, and he's going to have to earn some trust back. Are you prepared to get him on an actual contract with his name on it?
Yes, absolutely. And the actual contract will say that it's $0.
Excellent. Okay, as long as there's something there that indicates that he's actually going to do it, and we can take action if he doesn't, because unfortunately now he has a demonstrable history of not doing what he says. So I look forward to him earning that trust back, but he is going to have to earn it.
Fair enough.
I had one other comment. Could I make it?
Quickly. You haven't used your 5 minutes. You have one.
Okay. Gail Lightfoot made it to Santa Nella. If Gail Lightfoot could make it, I think any of us could make it. I think it's a matter of motivation more than it is a matter of distance or convenience. So.
All right. Thank you.
May I make one quick thing, because she just did?
Quickly, please.
Very quickly. Paul Landcam was not able to come because his issues are far different than Gail Lightfoot. I don't want to get into tit for tat, but I don't think that's fair, Barbara.
Okay. I'm going to go to Mary Beth's question. She's got her hand up. Mary Beth, please.
I was just wondering, like, what funds we do have. I have not been updated on, since we have a short period of time between now and the convention again, what we're looking at, or are we talking about fundraising for everything, which I just wanted to clarify. Like, you know, making a choice would be based on funds, I would assume, as well.
Lauren, can I speak to that? Do you mind?
Quickly, sure.
We made $13,000 at this convention, so we have plenty of money at this point in the coffers, if you will. 13,000 netted, 13,000.
Thank you. And it's worth noting, whatever we do tonight is going to involve some kind of initial financial outlay in order to close contracts and that kind of thing. So whatever bid we go with tonight is going to automatically approve that initial financial outlay. I think that's intuitive. Mimi.
May I just really quickly, the initial outlay for this would be $1,000, which was shown in that proposal. That would be the initial. I believe that this will also make money, and the only hard cost for for San Diego would be $1,500 in the end, which is not due at any time soon because we'd be paying $1,000 now and $500 sometime in the future.
All right. June, your hand is up.
I'd like to hark back to something that Pat brought up and I hadn't thought about, which is that this convention is in February and the grapevine, you can't always get over the grapevine in February. So it's not just a matter of the driving time, it's a matter of access. Potentially, people could have trouble getting from the south to Santa Anela, and I think we need to take that into consideration as well.
Well, the same thing goes for us going south then.
If you're driving, yes.
Yes.
All
As
right.
many-
Thank you, June.
That's the same, goes both ways.
All right. Any further comment on this? Joe, are you raising your hand?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a comment and I'd like some clarification also on something else from my comment is, where I live, Santa Anela is far more convenient. It was basically an hour and a half. It's going to take me probably 7 hours if I drive to San Diego. So, if that were the only consideration, I would always want it to be in the north. However, I think that we have a long tradition for a very good reason of moving the convention around. And I think locking ourselves into one spot every year, locking us into one financial arrangement every year, I think that's not good for the long-term health of the party. So I think it would make more sense for the long term to have one somewhere quite far south, and then with the idea that the following year we move it north again. And it doesn't have to be alternating. We can consider Santa Anela. To me, it's more like the Central Valley than it is north, but whatever. I think there's good reason to move it around. My question, I'd like the two of the proponents to address. You've each cited some numbers, and I'm confused about some of them. There's comments about the meal costs, and it sounded like one person was saying the cost at her place would be lower. The other one was saying her. Can we get some actual like oranges to oranges comparisons there of those of the meal prices? I think this business about the meeting room costs is really not important. It sounds like it's a relatively small amount. Either way, that's a small amount part of the whole thing. But in terms of the cost to our members or attendees, things like the meal costs, of course, we're going to charge more than that, but that's our minimum we have to pay. Things like parking, and any other, and room rates, I guess. If could each of the people address those three costs?
I can.
Okay. Let's start with Barbara. Take it 5 minutes, and then we'll give Amy 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Do it in a way that we can actually compare them side to side.
Well, ask me if you have any questions, and I think it's in the chat. I think my email's in the chat. I'm sorry you didn't get to see it before, Joe.
I saw it. I saw it about an hour ago.
Okay, parking is zero. Just about everything is zero at Santa Anela except room costs and the cost to get there. I'm very sorry to hear about Paul's situation. And yet in general, I think it's pretty accessible for almost everyone. And if we come north in alternate years, Paul will be missing alternate years as well. So at any rate, the meal costs were very, very, very reasonable. I did a little bit of a markup so that I could pay for all the different things, but not much of one. In fact, the chair at the time was very much urging me to charge more, and I wanted to make it as accessible as I could. So really, if you look at my email, there are no costs for us other than transportation to get there and the room and food. But
so how does your room, what is your room rate compare, and the meal cost? The meal rate, like for the dinner, how much is your dinner? And then let Mimi say how much your dinner is.
Well, whatever it was last time, I don't really have it in front of me. I can't remember exactly what I charged, but the costs are there in my email for each individual meal. And I think I marked it up probably 10%. So I think I charged $90 for the Saturday night venue. I think I charged $60 for the lunches. I think I charged $30 or $35 for the reception. The room rates are 160, no taxes, as I recall, just plain 160. What else did you ask, Joe? Oh, the meeting rooms. The meeting rooms, the cost will be $0 for all the meeting rooms and all the event rooms. Chris has assured me that they get 250 people into that larger room all the time. We would probably move it around a little bit this time to get the vendor tables closer to the business and put the meals a little further away so that we could have more traffic into the vendors. We can put as many as 20 vendor tables in there. There won't be anybody screening vendors, so that probably will allow us to have a few more vendors. I'm going to be pretty generous with vendors. I was this last time as well. I let a number of people come for a reduced rate because I wanted to get as many vendors as possible. Does that answer all your questions, Joe?
No, but you both offered some numbers. I just want to make sure that we're hearing apples to apples comparison, not, and also on the revenue projections, you made some comment about how much money we raised this year. I hear over decades, I've heard reports of how much money we made on some convention, but some people count the fundraising that was done during the dinner as part of the convention. Some people are just talking about the profit on the package sales. So I just want to make sure whatever numbers you give and whatever numbers Mimi gives, that we're actually comparing the same thing. So
well, I just gave you the numbers for the meals, and I'm going to be doing a convention report. I do apologize, I haven't done it already. I have a new grandbaby, and I'm flying back to North Carolina every chance I get, plus still running my practice and doing all the things. I've got it all penned out and ready to go. I just haven't finalized it. So I think the total cost was about, I can't recall, with meals and everything, about 25,000. But what we netted was a little over 13,000. And again, I will write a report with.
Did that include fundraising at the banquet?
It did include fundraising, yes. And again, for the meals, I think I charged 30 or 35 for the reception. I can't quite remember, I apologize. 60 for each of the lunches and 90 for the dinners. Room rate again is 160.
All right, so let's give Mimi a chance to give comparable numbers.
All right, Mimi,
Okay,
go ahead.
So without going into other aspects of it, I've looked at the menu pricing of the hand relief, and it's approximately the same as menu pricing of the Hotel Mission Diora. I did actually work with Barbara a little bit about that at that time to figure out the cost to make sure that we could, pay for other things. But as far as the package prices, which did go up as time went along, which we always do, just to try to get people that do early bird, it's going to be approximately the same because the menu pricing is approximately the same. As far as the room rate, I will say that Santa Mila is $160 a night versus the handlery, which is $169. So it's a $6 or a $9 differential. There is taxes on both. I was charged taxes in Santa Mila. You can't get away with not paying taxes. Taxation is theft, blah, 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 but it was there. So there were that additional thing, but the base price is $160 versus $169. And I will admit that the hotel in San Diego is $9 more. As far
Yours also
as,
has a parking fee, right?
And
Yours
it
also
does.
has a parking fee, which
it is $12 a night for people staying at the hotel. That is an additional $12. I plan to ask them if they will reduce that or eliminate that, but I can't promise that, so I'm not going to say that tonight. I didn't start negotiating further because I wasn't able to tell them that I was going to be able to sign. So, I will try to. I've negotiated several convention contracts in the last since 2018, and I usually can get more concessions, but I'm not going to promise that. So right now, the cost differential will be $9 plus $12. That is an absolute fact. As far as people in the north getting there, there's flights for approximately $100 round trip from most of the north airports to San Diego. It cost me $140 round trip to drive there, paying for gas. So to Mary Beth's thing. If you're driving, yes, it could be a problem from there to there, absolutely. But there are flights that you can get that are fairly reasonable. And I will admit, I did not look at Fresno Airport. I was looking at the Bay Area one. So that's probably going to be more expensive. But as far as the actual cost, the cost at San Diego will be the $1,500 for the business rooms, and to the membership itself, the food costs will be probably the same. I've gotten it guaranteed that they will use the menu pricing that they gave me now for 2025. They won't be increasing it for 2026. So that will be approximately the same. So to our members, it will be the additional 9 plus 12 if they're driving and parking. And did that answer all of your questions, Joe?
I think so. And how about the question of how much we can expect to profit we can expect to make on the convention? Do you, from your previous experience, do you have any estimate of whether we would be likely to do better or worse than the 13,000 that Barbara mentioned for Santanella?
Well, so the only thing I don't know is I have not seen her report. So she is saying that there was $13,000 profit, which I totally believe. However, I don't know if that takes into account any of the party's costs, because the party will still have some costs. They will have costs for, various things like, the badges, the this, that, the other thing. And the parliamentarian. We paid for a parliamentarian this year. We're going to pay for a parliamentarian next year. Those are actual costs, and I don't know if that's taken out of the profit. But I would imagine, and this isn't imagine, because I can't say for sure, I think that we will be able to raise more money because we will have more people there, and it's a convention year for national. I think we'll have a lot of people coming here from other states that are running for LNC positions. So I believe that we probably could make more money. However, I don't want to guarantee that because I don't know. I will also say I've also reached out to some speakers already, but I don't want to talk about that because I don't think that that's something that's relevant for right now. I think right now, if you're asking for apples to apples, the apples to apples are that it would be $9 plus $12 more for the members to get there.
Can I add?
All right. Tara's got her hand up, but let me come to you after Tara, Pat.
All right, thank you.
Go ahead, Tara.
All right. So, how, I travel a lot, and Hotel Mission de Oro has always been one of my favorite hotels to stay at, even before I knew Chris Riffer was the actual owner. So I love the hotel. It's an amazing place. The San Diego hotel, I actually went to that convention too when San Diego had their convention there in 2022. And I have to say, I was very impressed with that hotel, the food, the space, the convention space that they had. So it is an excellent choice. It's a great thing. But we've been rotating every year up to now. We've gone north, south, and even central, because we can't forget that we had Visalia not that long ago either. And so I feel like this is a tough decision because we all love Chris. We all are incredibly thankful for what he did. But I think in order to get back in the rotation, I think it's most fair for everybody across the board in all parts of the state. Now, when it comes around where we do Central California again, I would definitely like to consider having it in Santanella again at his hotel, because I think that it's an incredible opportunity. And so maybe we can instead of just saying, no, we're choosing San Diego instead, saying we're going to basically defer that to a different year in rotation, because I think we're all divided. We all love Hotel Mission de Oro. We're all incredibly thankful for what Chris is doing for us. But at the same time, it's kind of nice to get back in the rotation of having it in the north and the south and central again. That's all.
Okay, Pat, go ahead.
Thank you. San Diego is about 90 minutes from San Francisco, Sacramento, Oakland, or San Jose. And when you fly into San Diego, you're about 20 minutes away. You just take the 5 north for 10 minutes, and then you go the 8 east. And I think the first exit is Hotel Circle South. And on Hotel Circle South, you see a lot of hotels. I think next to the Handley, and I did an LPC convention, I think at the Handley, but they all change names. They all change over, is a Motel 6. So there are a lot of less expensive hotels. So, I mean, this is the San Diego Hotel Circle South. There are a lot of hotels, there are a lot of choices, and you're close to everything that San Diego has to offer. So really, I mean, Santa Ynez took me 8.5 hours. And if it wasn't for Anthony driving me from Bakersfield to Santa Ynez, I probably wouldn't have made it. I'd be dead on the road somewhere between there and then. So really, San Diego was a no-brainer.
All right, thank you, June. We're kind of running out of time on this agenda item, but go ahead, June.
I would definitely support Santanella for next year. And that's because I'd like to see 28 in the north, because that's a presidential nominating year. And we want good attendance and we want good media. You need to be there, a media center, if you want good media. And we ain't going to get that in Santanella. I mean, I second everything that's been said about how wonderful a place Mission de Oro is, but it's just not good for media. It's not good for people coming in from other states as speakers because they have a long trip from the closest airport, wherever it is, and coordinating that on top of the costs is another factor. So it's a great place where we're not as worried about attendance as we would be in a presidential year. So I would like to see us go to San Diego this year, Santanella next year, and someplace in the north in 2028.
All right. Any further comment here then from the committee, the executive committee? All right. Well, then before we proceed to a vote on this, I need to note that Richard Stafford has arrived, defeating Noda once again to take his seat on the committee. So we're going to go ahead and replace Francisco with Richard Stafford at 718. So Rebecca, if you would note that. That being the case, those of you who are here, I think we need to go ahead and vote. So for ease of use, how should we do this? Is everybody okay with using the raise hand react in Zoom? Is there anybody who has an issue with that? Anybody who doesn't know where it is?
I don't know where it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know where it is either.
It's not here.
Okay.
I'm on my cell phone, so
Reactions.
Okay, well then, let's do it like this then. Let's do it like this. Let's do a roll call vote. Let's have Rebecca go ahead and call it off. And when she calls your name, say either San Diego or Santanella. And then we'll just count them up from there. Does that sound fair to everybody?
Yep.
All right. Rebecca, please.
Okay. Lauren, do you want to go or are you going to abstain on this one?
It is. I want to really make it my habit to just break ties. So go
All
ahead
right.
and skip me.
I'll come back to you at the end.
Okay.
All right. Pat.
San Diego.
All right. Next is me, Rebecca. I vote for San Diego. Chris Miniletti.
I'll vote for San Diego.
Joe Dean.
San Diego.
Mary Beth.
Santanella.
Brandon Jackson.
San Diego.
Carrie.
San Diego.
June.
San Diego.
Mark.
San Diego.
Brian.
San Diego.
Lawrence.
San Diego.
Dave.
San Diego.
Richard Stafford. All right, is Richard here? I thought he was here. I don't know.
Yeah, Richard is. I let him in. Richard, are you there?
He's muted.
He's muted. Let's come back to Richard.
All right, Tara Young.
San Diego.
Okay, Lauren, do you want to vote now? Or no? Or do you abstain?
That doesn't sound like it's a tie. So
all right, I'll write that you abstain.
Let's go ahead and call Richard an abstain too, since he has not been able to unmute. Pat, you're muted, Pat.
Brandon said I owe everybody a round of margaritas now.
Oh, is that right? Well, Brandon can drink mine because I don't drink, but I think that's probably a great idea. All
Not
right.
a problem.
Assuming that Brandon is old enough, we can't be sure. So
Thanks.
we'll see.
Make mine
We'll
a
see what happens.
virgin strawberry daiquiri.
Oh,
There you go. All right, Rebecca, go ahead and give us the results there, please.
All right, let me just count. Okay, there's 12 votes for San Diego, 1 vote for Santanella, and 2 abstain.
Okay, so it looks like we'll go ahead and hold 2026 convention in San Diego.
yay.
Joe, you're raising your hand. You have a question.
Yeah, I want to add one more comment about Santanella. There's been talk in the past, actually we've done it sometime in the past, of having additional events that are not our annual convention, training events, some sort of conference that's primarily speakers, things like that. Perhaps a gathering of all the county chairs or county executive committees or something. It occurs to me that it might make sense to look at the Centinela site for that kind of event. So we shouldn't consider this a rejection of Santanella for everything. It's just
I broadly agree. We do have to have one in-person executive committee meeting at some point. I don't know if we'll necessarily get that in between now and February, but it's probably worth looking at Santanella for that. I know that we've done that before.
If we are going to keep having our conventions in February, which I would like to see, I know there's some possibility that National will change their schedule. You might want to change theirs, but assuming we keep having our state convention in February, it might be nice to have a place that works in the summer for another kind of statewide gathering, and that could be very good for that.
Fair. Mimi, I appreciate that you have your hand raised, but we're going to move on. We're going to set up a convention committee here a little bit later in the meeting. And then at that point, I think you're going to be able to interface with them, no problem, and get questions answered and concerns addressed. So we're going to go ahead and move ahead here to communications. I have a communications line here. There's been a suggestion that we create that we make the executive committee email list publicly viewable, but that only the members of the executive committee can actually post to it. Am I understanding that correctly? That's what people are looking for? I'm not hearing any objection to that. All right. So Rebecca, is that something that is possible to do?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't know that we even necessarily need a motion to do that. I just wanted to put forward the idea that that's been suggested. I don't think it's a terribly bad idea. So if no one has any particular objection to that, then we'll go ahead and do that. It's probably wise then for us to be nice because other people are going to be looking at the executive committee list. So let's not grandstand at each other or snark at each other. I know there's been a long, ignoble history of that in the Libertarian Party. I hope that we can get past that. So we'll go ahead and make those XCOM emails publicly viewable so people can see what's going on, and that'll make it easy for folks to just have a sense of what's going on. They'll know which list to subscribe to. Alrighty, so Mark, you wanted to talk about AB 699 and producing an opposition statement. You want to take 5 minutes and tell us about that?
Yeah, so the bottom line is everybody knows that when ballot measures like parcel taxes and bond measures come to the ballot, there's 75 words right next to the yes, no. And what this bill AB 699 intends to do is basically eliminate any cost to the taxpayers from the 75 words and direct them to another document that probably most people don't even look at. So the none too subtle goal of AB 699 is to increase the number of parcel taxes and bond measures and other tax measures that are going to be on the ballot more readily passed and soak the taxpayers. And as we all know, taxation is theft. That's pretty much in a nutshell. So, and one other thing, I believe on the 18th, there's a Senate subcommittee that's going to take this up. And I found out that there's a way organizations can submit their opposition or their approval of legislation. And so I'd like to get that done. And it could be as simple as the Libertarian Party of California Executive Committee endorses a no vote on AB 699. And I sent out a op-ed piece that the Mercury News put out regarding AB 699, and it's kind of unusual because the Mercury News typically favors every parcel tax and every bond measure, and they came out very strongly against this. And as has the Howard Jarvis organization, Santa Clara, or the Silicon Valley Taxpayers Association, and others. Questions?
Yeah, any attempt to camouflage a tax increase is just absurd and should probably be opposed.
Yep.
Mary Beth, you have your hand up.
Oh, I was just wondering, is it more effective instead of saying the executive committee that do we have a way to have people call in numbers to affect more of the committee? Like send out a blast, an email saying you need to call these people on this committee? That's how we've done it in the past, so.
Yeah, absolutely. But because of the short notice, I think we're kind of learning the ropes regarding the Neon database. I know I certainly am. But yeah, that's the sort of thing that I would like to keep, like maybe once or twice a month, have some legislation that we should favor or oppose,
Yeah,
and have it sent out to the voter registration list and let them know, hey, we're here, we're back, we're growing, and we're politically active.
yeah, I like today, Francisco had sent out for us to all call regarding, firearms ban. So it's easy.
Excellent
It only
idea.
takes 5 minutes and you can call everybody on the list. So I think it's a great idea to have that regularly.
Yep.
Just make it easy. Yeah. Thank you.
Can I add?
Yeah, Pat, you were jumping in there. Go ahead.
Thank you. I can't raise my hand. I don't know why. I have tennis elbow, but that's not the
That's a-
reason. No, Mark's point was really good. I ran it through ChatGPT. This is a terrible piece of legislation. It's quite typical of what the Democrats are pushing down our throat. So a very quick denunciation of it and what it is supposed to cause. I put it on our Facebook page. It really is an absorption of power. So we should have no doubt in opposing this. So thank you, Mark, for sending it out. And let's just put our voice to it. This is really bad. We say no.
Fair. Tara.
Do you think somebody here could do a quick less than 1 minute little spiel on it so I can turn that awareness of that into a video or some social media content?
It's on the Facebook page and it's really easy. If you use ChatGPT and just run it through, you will get amazing answers. It's really, by anybody's standard, bad news for taxpayers or open government people.
Mark, did you say this hearing is on the 18th? Like 3 days?
I believe it's the 18th. I'll have to double check, but that's somebody else told me that. I haven't researched that myself, but somebody told me there was going to be another committee hearing on the 18th.
All right.
And I think it has been through the assembly.
Okay. Can we find some more details about who we can call for the sort of call to action that Mary Beth is looking for? Because then we are about to stand up a communications committee tonight. And this sounds like a great first project for the communications committee to jump on
concur.
And blow it out all over the place. But we're going to need to know who people need to call so that when we sick our readers on them, they know where to go about sicking.
Well, your assembly critter and state senator.
Just in general. So you say it's through the assembly, so it'll be a state senator thing. This will be a call your state senator kind of a deal.
That's my information up, and again, I haven't researched that deeply, but I believe that's the case.
Yeah, we need committee members though.
Well, yeah, again, but it may have been moving out of committee. I mean, if this is headed for the Senate, then it's all just about calling your senator.
Oh, okay.
So that might need a little bit of a clarification. I think I'm not hearing any objection, and if anyone did object, I'm sure they would not voice it in a room like this. That 699 is a terrible idea. So I don't know that we even necessarily need to vote on that. It just needs to then go out into communications. Tara.
Sorry, I was looking at the chat GPT on it. So for example, one thing that we can do with this is that if we can create basically a 1 minute script in a nutshell describing what 699 is, how bad it is, And then at the end of our video, have a specific call to action. So in that call to action, it would say, this is how what you can do. Call your state senator or whatever, because I like to have call to actions even in the script on the post, but also actually in the video, or, well, it depends on what medium it is. So if it's a video, it would have the video, and then at the end of the video, I could have it say, do this, you know, very, very specific. So that way it gets it out to the masses on social media.
That's not where in my wheelhouse as far as expertise, but I like the idea.
I think that that's something that can come together here in the next couple of days so that it can get out there and phone calls can happen. I don't know that we necessarily need to vote on that. Joe.
It's what everybody's been saying here makes sense. I just want to make sure we don't have it backwards or anything, because I was confused. The first message that Mark sent out about this said, I request that we officially oppose it. And then it has a summary. It says what this bill does expands voter transparency for local tax measures.
Right. The
Is
expands
that a
weren't there.
quote from a misleading argument from the other side? Is that what's going on here? Why would we be opposing a bill that expands voter transparency?
I think expands is clearly the incorrect word there, because
So this is a misleading characterization by the other side.
Oh yeah.
What a surprise!
But you quote, that's what you quoted as part of your argument. That's why it's so confusing.
Yeah, and the rest of the context of that message seems like it to suggest that.
So what this would do is I haven't read this text of this bill. So currently they're required to include certain things in the 75 words.
Yes.
And they're proposing to make that no longer required, and instead they can just give a pointer to the voter pamphlet.
Yes.
So where the information is supposed to be there, but again, it's you've got your voter handbook that you take to the polls. Nobody's going to take the big voter handbook that's
But the other reason that that's not helpful is it's already in the voter pamphlet. So anybody who wants to read the voter pamphlet already knows where to. So if you don't have to give the amount and the duration in the 75 word thing, and all it does is, and that's all in the voter pamphlet. Well, currently you get it in the 75 word thing and in the voter pamphlet. So it's reducing the information, the ease of getting the information.
Yeah. Everything about this is clearly.
I just wanted to make sure I had it straight.
Right.
We weren't somehow getting tricked into doing the opposite of what we want.
Voting yes on no. Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. Well, I don't know. You said we should oppose a thing that expands voter transparency.
That's definitely an odd word. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, clearly that language needs to get honed down into something super tight, 100, 150 words, something that can get done in a minute. And we can let the communications committee that is about to get pulled together deal with that here over the next day or two.
So you say we don't need a vote, but what is our policy going to be going forward about legislation?
That's a reasonable point. Let's vote just so that it's in the minutes. So we'll entertain a motion to make official statements across all of our channels to oppose AB 699 and encourage people to call their senators in opposition. I will make that motion.
Second.
All right, second from Dave Schrader. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, no tar and feathering tonight. Okay, that's unanimous. And we will go ahead and turn that over to communications here that will get seated shortly.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mark. All right, let's move to potential legal action against proposed special election for redistricting. This is you, Pat. Go ahead.
Am I muted? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, super. As I'm sure you're all know, and it's a big news, is that Governor Newsom is trying to counter Texas, getting rid of the districts that are drawn by nonpartisan committees to do a committee that is completely favorable to Democrats, just as Texas is doing to Republicans. I ran it through ChatGPT. I'm sorry, I'm a ChatGPT addict. As the Libertarian Party of California, we are in a unique position to challenge this and to stop it, because it's going to be a $200 to $250 million election, which will, according to most recent polls, 70% of Californians oppose. They like the independent ability to, that the districts are now drawn independently and not gerrymandered. I think this will put us on the map. I hope everybody saw the proposal, but I think only Jim Jennis reads my emails. and I ran it through ChatGPT, and they set a budget of 10,000. I've run legal stuff through ChatGPT for free. We need to challenge this. Nobody is supporting Governor Newsom's idiotic proposal to redistrict mid-decade. And I think this will put us on the map. And it'll show that libertarians are not fighting each other. We're fighting the state. I think we should seriously consider this. The question is, do we have adequate legal counsel?
It is my understanding that we do not have any kind of staff attorney. We sign on to a variety of lawsuits, but we don't necessarily have a lawyer that we deal with. So I wonder if it's possible, because I suspect the Citizens Redistricting Commission will definitely have something to say about this seizure of their power. And so I know that you mention in here that like I need to reach out to them, and I completely agree that we can reach out to the Citizens Redistricting Commission and offer to join whatever effort that they are going to put together against it.
We have to act pretty quickly. But it's an outstanding opportunity to put ourselves on the map as people who oppose. And Newsom is not popular and Trump is not popular. People do not like this. I mean, redistricting is supposed to be in the hands of nonpartisan people, and now it's extremely partisan.
Right.
We could put ourselves in the favor of 90% of Californians.
Yeah, representatives should not be allowed to choose their constituents. It needs to work the other way around.
True.
Yeah.
So, but this is a big issue, and June, I think, was correct. She kind of opposed putting this on the agenda because it's going to take up too much time. Can we micromanage this to a few people and then bring it back to everybody?
Yeah, let's talk. Let's take this offline a little bit and talk about how exactly to do this. Given that we don't have a ready lawyer that we can just call and launch at this.
All right.
And we'll kind of chat. We'll chat a little more about how exactly to approach this.
So
but
who
definitely,
should we chat to?
Well, you and I can have a conversation first.
Well, okay, but I've nagged you to death, haven't I, Lauren?
Not at all. Not at all. I love it. I love it. I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm a glutton for punishment. I will show up for the next convention with Pat literally on my back. That's what's going to happen.
God. All right. Well, let me run it through. I mean, what is tomorrow? Saturday.
Yeah. Let's take the weekend, but let's definitely sort this thing out next week.
My choice is to weed the garden or nag Lauren. So let's see. Nag Lauren.
Fair.
My arm is bad. So
all right.
Let me get a proposal to you, and then we'll take it to everybody because I don't want to take up all the time because I know you've got a very full schedule.
Right on. We got a bunch of stuff.
Thank you, June, for reading my emails.
Joe, go ahead.
So again, I think we need to be careful going forward as we talk about various kinds of legislation, whether it's an initiative or something coming from the legislature or proposed by the governor. There's two different questions. Are we in favor or opposed to a particular thing? And then there's how do we use our social media, legal budget, whatever, to act on that? It is not clear to me that from libertarian first principles, the statement principles, that we can automatically assume a position on something like a redistricting process. I think it's clear that this is a very partisan thing and it's intended to promote the Democrats, and I think we can reasonably oppose it, but I think we should explicitly decide that. It's not like, oh, it's a new tax. Of course, we're against taxes. This is a slightly sideways thing. It's not a libertarian principle thing. It's a political thing. And so I think if we're going to be spending any kind of resources or doing any kind of media campaign, we shouldn't try to micromanage the media campaign, but we should be clear that we are opposed to it. We should make that clear here.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say, Joe, is that
I'd like a vote on our position on what the governor is proposing.
Okay. Do we want to go ahead and do that vote now, though, or do we? Am I hearing you suggest that we take this offline and come back with a reasoned libertarian argument of why this is bad?
I email
on that?
I think we have to do it pretty soon, right?
Yeah, we do. I'll have a detailed email to all the execcom in 24 hours.
But the legislature is being asked like in the next week to put this thing on the ballot.
Sorry,
right?
24 hours. Come on.
Oh, no. We can have another meeting. Are you saying?
No. Just.
Well, then.
I mean, if you want another meeting, but it takes 7 days to call a meeting, right?
In the worst case, we could tack together an operations committee meeting and work that pretty quickly.
Why do you not like the idea of voting on the? If we all know what this would do, and we're all in agreement that it's a bad thing, why wouldn't we want to vote on that now?
Doesn't it take 7 days to call a meeting?
Well, why
don't we vote on it now?
Okay, well, hang on. Well,
if you want to, that's fine. That's fine.
I get that, Joe, but I just want to make sure of I want to make sure of what I'm hearing from you, because what I'm hearing from you is you're hunting for a solid libertarian opposing argument against this thing, and that you haven't heard that yet. Am I mishearing what you've said?
No, I'm saying that there isn't an obvious from first libertarian principles position on something like how redistricting should be done. And I don't even know exactly what the governor is proposing. Is he proposing a change in the rules of how the
No, he's
or is he
proposed.
proposing adopt these maps?
Yes, the maps are out.
Okay.
And
So
they're gonna diminish the number of Republican
okay, I
districts by
understand the
about
point of it,
half.
but the form of the proposal that's going to go on the ballot is adopt these 52 maps instead of what we had up for the last
Yes,
several
exactly,
years.
exactly.
Okay.
But
So
I
that
need time.
sounds like
I
a
need
terrible
time.
way to
Wait.
me in terms of being a political activist and being the Libertarian Party being part of the scene. That sounds like a very bad thing, and I think we can oppose it. My point was not that it's not libertarian to oppose it. My point was that it's not an obviously libertarian position that we can all assume we agree on without talking about it and voting on it.
You know, I know libertarians that you need to dot your I's and cross your T's and do everything very careful. And Joe, I really appreciate you because you're one of the most detailed people I know, and that's why I always go to you when I have questions. And I need to reformat it. I need to reformat it very carefully, and I need to persuade you. And if I don't persuade you, that's fine. But I'd like to be able to dot my I's and cross my T's and send it to everybody.
All right.
And then how and when do we vote on it?
That's the question. That's a very good question.
Let's
have another meeting a week from now?
Let's continue to percolate on that for a second. There are hands up, so let's get some more commentary here. I think June, you were first, and then Chris.
Yeah, what is going to be on the ballot is a proposal to override the requirement we currently have, which is that the districts be drawn by an independent commission. There was a very good article today in Democracy Today. Anyway, something that someone I read all the time writes about the failures of the independent commissions to solve a lot of our problems. But this is a dogfight between the Democrats and the Republicans, and I think we should stay as far away from it as possible. It's the only libertarian issue for us is that they want to spend $2 million to do it, and we oppose them doing that.
250 million. You're off by about
Whatever.
98%.
It's a lot.
Whatever. It's a lot of money, and certainly we should oppose that. But in terms of, I mean, I don't see any other way to fight what's going on in Texas. I don't like what's going on in Texas, and there doesn't seem to be any other remedy, pardon my cat, except to play the same game other places. It's dirty politics. I think we should just stay away from it. I think there are other solutions to this kind of problem, but none of them can be put in place by 26. And that's the issue. Do we want to see MAGA take over the entire Congress with no hope of redemption before the next presidential elections? Or do we want to let them try and do something which might stop it? And that's my personal opinion. I've already sent this out to people if they read my emails any more than they read Joe's. But it's just something that I don't think shines a favorable light on us to get involved in, period.
All right.
That's it.
Fair enough. Chris.
I don't know that I have too much to add from what's already been said, other than this was on the ballot for California voters, and this independent commission was created, right? And now that's trying to be undone, and it's definitely shenanigans, and we should be opposed to that. And I don't know if we can tie something in, if we were going to take a position on this, if we can tie something into, we're opposed to this everywhere, not just in California, we're opposed to this in Texas too. And then I just mentioned in the chat, I know that Lars Mapstead started the Voting Rights Foundation. They've already taken a position against this, and he's been a little vocal about it. So maybe we can piggyback off of what he's done a little bit, or patch our wagons to that. Yeah, I guess that's all I have.
Okay. A statement against gerrymandering certainly sounds legit. Mark, you are up next.
Yeah, first principle, it's a waste of taxpayers' money, so we should oppose that. Pure and simple.
Sometimes, enough said. All right, Brandon.
Just throwing my 2 cents in. This whole gerrymandering thing wouldn't be an issue if we didn't have a 2-party system and there was multiple parties. So that's my 2 cents.
All right, Tara.
I agree with what Brandon just said. I think this is a great opportunity to especially with our messaging again, show everybody what nonsense the two-party system is. So this is a good opportunity for branding for us.
Good idea.
Okay. So it seems like if we're going to vote on something, I think there are a couple of options here. We can either vote to oppose the expenditure of taxpayer money for a Sacramento power grab. I think that's a reasonable libertarian position to take. I think that we can vote against gerrymandering in general. I think that's a solid libertarian position to take. And we can or we can oppose the seizure of the districting from citizens committees by government, which I think is also a really solid libertarian position to take, because representatives should not get to choose their constituents. It should work the other way around. Do any of those three things jump out particularly that we should make a motion here on to vote?
Well, I think you're missing the fourth option, which is to sue the state of California, because they really don't have the right to do this. But I haven't given you enough information to make a decision. So I'm sorry, this all kind of happened this afternoon. Can I email all of you tomorrow? And honoring the procedures, because I know that, there are certain procedures in effect. But I don't see how you could vote on this proposal with what information I provided you. So if I give you more information tomorrow, can we revisit this issue? And we have to revisit it quickly because time is running out.
I certainly think the issue can be revisited. I think that a lot of the stuff about this issue, though, is sufficiently obvious that that our regular communications channels could totally do opposition to that without needing any permission from us.
But
in terms of joining a lawsuit and stuff, that'll also give me an opportunity to contact like the Citizens Commission and see what they're going to do.
I will nag you tomorrow.
Nag me. Do it.
All right. That's what I'm good at.
All right.
And I'm very happy. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you. Brandon.
So we're voting more on a stance than course of action?
Yes.
I think so, because the course of action, a lot about the course of action is going to depend on what other people are already doing. We're going to probably end up piggybacking on something someone else is doing, because we just don't have the infrastructure presently to do it ourselves.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good then.
So how do we, can we take a mail vote, an email vote on whatever Pat is going to send out? Or
I believe email motions are not on the table for what we're doing. But again, I think that opposition to this, I think, is pretty easy to state and doesn't necessarily need us to vote. If there's anybody in this room that is in favor of Sacramento seizing control of all the gerrymandering apparatus, then you probably should not be on this committee.
Wording.
I think that a lot about wording is going to fall into the bailiwick of the communications committee. There's probably a lot of different ways to approach this, and that can produce a lot of content that can blow out across the different channels. And so I think that there's a lot of room there for the communications committee to work independent of the executive committee, in terms of opposing this thing, which I think opposition is easy. But to the email thing, we don't do email motions anymore. There's no email voting on the executive committee.
But I will send you all an email within 24 hours.
All right, we will watch for that, Pat.
So are you saying that we are authorizing the communications committee to do something about this? Do we need a vote on that?
Just to oppose it, but nothing else. Symbolic only.
Okay.
No, I'm not talking about the doing it. If we're going to basically pass the wording to the communications committee, do we need to authorize them to do something, or do they automatically have the right to do something?
While I think that it potentially sets a kind of a strangling precedent to say that they can't do anything until we tell them, given that this actually came before us, I think it's probably reasonable to take a vote authorizing them just so that we're all on the same page about what happened. So I'll go ahead and move then to authorize the communications committee, which we are about to assemble, to adopt positions in opposition to this proposed special election and to produce language to that effect in posts going forward. Does that mission make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we have
I would prefer that it be worded that the Libertarian Party takes this position and leave it to the communications committee to figure out how to present it. I think our job is we're not going to craft the language of the press release or the social media post or the video. But those people should understand that there is a position.
All right. So then with the tacit understanding that the communications committee will of course produce messaging to this effect, then I'll make that the motion then will be that we take an official position against this proposed special election.
Thank you.
Is that
Yes.
sufficiently okay?
That's
All right.
better. That's
let's
better.
get a
And I would
let's
point
get a
out that
second
it's
for that.
not totally obvious because at least one person in this meeting has already spoken in favor of not doing anything about this, saying we shouldn't get involved. So I think that proves that it's not totally obvious that we should
All
be
right.
doing this.
That is a reasonable point. Okay, so then my motion that is on the floor then is that we take an official position against the proposed special election. And I'm looking for a second.
I second Brandon.
Second from Brandon. Okay, let's go ahead and roll call vote this because that's just simpler, Rebecca.
Okay.
Skip me.
All right.
You say Lawrence?
All right. Pat.
Oh,
Oh,
In favor?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And me, I will say yes. Chris.
Aye.
Joe.
Yes.
Mary Beth. All right, I'll come back to Mary Beth. Brandon.
Yeah.
Terry.
aye.
June.
Abstain.
Mark.
Affirmative.
Sorry, I couldn't catch that.
Affirmative, yes.
All right. Brian.
Abstain.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Richard.
Aye.
And Tara.
Yes.
And Mary Beth.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. All right, there is okay, there's 10 yes and 3 abstains. Oh wait, and Lauren, what's her vote?
if there's not a tie, I'm not going to vote. So
Okay.
I'll just break the ties. So okay, so it sounds like that passes then. All right, we are in opposition to the proposed special election, which right on. Okay, so let's go ahead and move. And I assume the communications committee then has the green light to start producing messaging on that once the communications committee gets set together. And Pat, you and I will come together too. I'll watch for your follow-up information here. We'll talk about next steps for how to make that happen in the legal arena. All right, so let's talk about committees. We got a whole bunch of committees that we need to stand up. Some are in, Richard, do you have like a parliamentary thing that you need to talk about?
I was going to suggest, I think it may have been Joe Dean who was suggesting that, but whoever suggested it, I think it would be good for you to adopt a motion now referring this specifically to the communications committee to promulgate wording in support of the position that you've taken.
Well, that seems more symbolic than anything. That I suppose we can do that. Brandon, you had a comment.
But we don't have a committee yet, right?
Yeah, there isn't a committee yet. So maybe we'll just skip that for right now. I think that broadly speaking, it is the imprimatur of the communications committee to do messaging on stuff that the executive committee has voted on. So I feel
agree.
like
I don't
that's
think
understood.
I don't think we need to delegate unless we want to mandate in a particular case. This is a really important thing. We want them to work on this. I don't think they need permission to.
Right. So I'm content to let them run with it because that's the nature of what we're about. There's lots of different ways to attack it. I'm happy to let them do that. All right, let's talk about committee distribution. There is a bunch of committees that we need to kind of start staffing up. We don't have to fill them all tonight, but there are a bunch of us. A lot of you have adopted projects already that automatically point in the direction of some of these committees. And so I'd like to start forming those up here. And then as those of you who end up on these committees, then we're all going to end up on something. As you feel like you want to bring more people aboard, that can be taken up at future meetings, and staffing out can continue. But a lot of these committees need to get stood up simply so that some work can begin. So we'll talk about so the first thing that we're doing is affiliate support. The affiliate support committee is the 3 area coordinators are automatically on that committee, and there are 4 open spots per the instructions after that. I know that I have thoughts on that. I'd personally like to nominate Richard Stafford, Brian Holtz, and Dave Schrader to the affiliate support committee. I think that the projects that you're undertaking dovetail nicely with the mission of the affiliate support committee. Do either of you 3 have an objection to that?
Who 3? The existing
Richard
members?
Stafford, Brian Holtz, and Dave Schrader.
I don't particularly object, but I wonder what's our process for letting other people who aren't on the XCOM to volunteer for committees?
There's nothing really stopping that. And if somebody wants to nominate someone who's not on the executive committee, that's totally fine. But I'd like to start with the members of the executive committee going forward. Rebecca, you had your hand up.
Yeah, as a secretary, I think would be better if I sent an email to say all the committee, to all the to all the affiliates, and ask them. We could do something like I was on the committee, but I was on the executive committee before, and we would solicit applications from people. I think that's a better way to do it than to just start appointing people.
Well, okay, that's reasonable. Although there are some of these committees that I really like to get going. Like there's stuff people want to be doing, and I'd like to try and fit the committee structure to the existing projects so far as we can. Chris.
I was going to make a similar point, just that to try to get members engaged to I think I saw something on social media for the communications committee,
Right.
like something like that, where we're soliciting input and encouraging people to get involved. I don't know that means we can't put some XCOM people on committees to get the ball rolling, but I think to fill them, I believe most of the committees require an XCOM vote to put people on them. And I think I saw one sort of application, or one member expressed interest that you emailed Lauren, but I think if we sent that to a broader audience and sort of broadcast that before filling the committees, that would be my preferred way to do it. Again.
Okay. Well, and again, my intention here was not necessarily to staff these committees, but just to get some people divvied into them so they could get started. June had her hand up, and then Dave, I'm coming to you, and then Joe.
I think the only committee we really need to get started right now are the next convention committee, which I think we've sort of done. I'm not sure if we've officially made a committee we've accepted which proposal, but we haven't appointed anyone to be in charge of it. So
that's true.
Maybe a loose end we need to clean up. And we need to do something about communications because we've already got tasks for them. But aside from that, I don't see any need to rush any of these other committees. Let's give people a chance to express interest and be able to review their qualifications before we start populating them.
Okay. So, well, if we just want to do communications and convention tonight, that might be reasonable. Dave, and then Joe, and then Brandon.
Yeah, I just wanted to be educated on how many committee memberships is a typical executive committee person on?
Well, that's a good question. I think typical is a really broad word. I don't know that there is a solid answer for that.
I mean, is it 2 or is it 5?
I think probably 2 or 3 is sufficient. So some of these are requirements. For example, the area coordinators are required to be on a pair of committees. The chair is required to be on 2 or 3 committees. The vice chair, I think, is required to be on a committee. The secretary is required to be on a committee. So a lot of this is finding some spots where the at-larges are already doing work that is clearly connected, and that way they can be operating with like an email address they communicate on, right? All that kind of thing, through official party channels and that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, when you threw out my name, I guess I was taken aback because I was thinking of other committees.
Oh, then decline. I mean, if there's something else you want to be on, then say so.
I mean, you and I had talked about you're having one-on-ones with people. So if you have like a master plan of what you would like, that might be a good one-on-one topic with people.
Well, my master plan ultimately is you guys doing the things that you're passionate about. my only thought here was there are some committees that obviously dovetail with things that you guys have expressed passion about, and so that decision felt reasonably easy for me. Though I'm recognizing that there is a little bit of concern about that, and we'll take that under consideration here. Joe, and then Brandon.
So, while I appreciate the idea of getting started on these things and the idea that we can then invite more people to join, it is a fact that most of the committees are defined to have a particular number of members.
Yes.
So if we fill them up, if it says it's supposed to be 5 members and 5 executive committee members volunteer and we appoint them, then that kind of ends the process for the current term. So I think we should take a middle road here. We should identify the committees that need some people immediately in order for an actual job to be done. The convention committee is a perfect example of that. And it also happens to be one where there's no limit on how many people can be on it. We just have to appoint the chair, and then he or she can fill in the rest with as many people as they want to help. Other committees that might be necessary would be the perhaps a financial committee. I'm not sure, the campaign finance committee or whatever it's called. There might be some, requirements that things have to be filed, or we want to get fundraising going for candidates. Maybe that one requires some action. I think most of these things can be safely deferred for another month. I don't know when we're planning to have our next meeting, but if it's going to be no more than another month from now, I definitely want to be on the historical preservation committee, but it's not going to make any difference whether we form that committee now or a month from now. So I would, I'd rather give other people a chance to volunteer to be on it also. So I think we should be selective. We should definitely do the convention committee, and anything else where there's some thing that needs to be done in the next month that needs to be done by the committee. Some of these things, we can do them whether we're on the committee or not.
That's a fair point. All right, Brandon.
Yeah, I agree with holding off on most of the committees, but the convention and the communications committees, I think we do need to get going right away. But again, my 2 cents.
All right. Well, let's run through the list, and then we'll hit the ones that are clearly mission critical here as we go along in the thing. So,
suggestion, just to make things faster and save Rebecca some work. Can we all just do a thumbs up visible on the screen and let her count the thumbs? Instead of having to poll everybody?
Well, and I mean, I might just simply call for objection too, and then that's simple enough. I think a lot of this is not going to be anything people are going to fight about. It's just stuff that needs to get done. So the committees that we have to fill are as follows. The Affiliate Support Committee. The 3 area coordinators are automatically on the Affiliate Support Committee. There are 4 open spots behind that. Forget that I suggested anyone. We're just throwing the idea out there. The Awards Committee has 5 open spots. I would like to be on the Awards Committee. I'm just going to put that out there. Nobody is required. There are just 5 open spots. The Budget Committee. Chris, as the treasurer, is required to be on the Budget Committee. I should probably be on that too. But then there are 4 open spots behind Chris, one of which might be me, depending on who decides they want a piece of that. The Bylaws Committee. The Bylaws Committee has no real specific requirement, but it does need to exist going to the next convention. We do have a tight turnaround to the next convention, so maybe this is a year where we don't do much tinkering with the bylaws, but we're libertarians. I won't hold my breath. The Candidate Support Committee is...
So the Bylaws Committee does have a requirement. It's supposed to be
does it? Then I missed it. Who's supposed to be on the Bylaw Committee?
No, not a particular person, but it does have to be appointed within a certain amount of time.
Right, and it's like 3 months, right?
But it may not. Yeah, I don't think it's. And it doesn't have. Yeah,
right,
I don't think we have to act on it now, and I don't think.
Right. The point being, no one is required to be on it, and so we can come back to it.
No, it doesn't. That one has actually an earlier deadline, not later than 60 days following the close of each convention.
So we'll want to definitely do that one shortly.
At the next meeting, if we're having another meeting in a month, we definitely do it then.
All right. The Candidate Support Committee, both FPBC and FEC, I'm required to be on that. And then it says a treasurer appointed by the chair who cannot be an LPCA officer, which is a delightfully arcane rule. So I will need to probably hunt up somebody to do that. I've got a couple of people in mind. I'll reach out. We'll get back with that. And then there are 5 open spots. that follow on that committee. The Communications and Media Committee has no required people, and there are 7 open slots there. This is something we've already talked about, so let's go ahead and stop there and take care of it before we move on to some other things. I want to nominate Terry Young to be on the Communications and Media Committee. Let's go ahead and open nominations for that off the executive committee here, with the understanding that we're not going to fill all the spots. There will be room for other folks to join going forward.
Okay, can I say, yeah, Tara's number 1, but I'd like to be on the committee too.
And Pat is volunteering to be on there. Okay. Anybody else want to jump on that?
I'd like to nominate Mimi as someone who's not on the exec-com, because she has done a lot in the way of communications, and she would add a lot of practical experience, and she has a lot of connections that we can make use of. Which brings me to something I want to bring up later, is do we have some money to give her to get out a press release? I don't know where that fits in the agenda, but I want to bring it up somewhere.
It's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that. Tara, you have your hand up.
I have a list of people that have emailed in already. So do you want me to go over those names now or later?
Are there more than 7?
Are there more than 7?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then let's do it this way. Let's go ahead and vote on Tara, Pat, and Mimi, since they're the ones that are here. And then once you guys are in place, as we come back next month, you can figure out who you want those 4 other spots to be. And of course, that doesn't mean that other people can't be contributing to things like social media and messaging and stuff like that. The committee is just in case you actually feel like you want to vote on something, which you probably should do. I would encourage you to try and create some general content guidelines. And that would be something that you guys would be looking to vote and construct for yourselves. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So is there anybody else who would like to nominate somebody specifically right now that's like in the room for the Communications and Media Committee? Tara.
Okay, let me figure out who is in the room. Is Victor I can't even
We're talking about the
that.
Communications and Media Committee. That's what we're talking about right now. There's folks in the chat asking.
Is Victor in here? Because he has been handling the X account and Instagram. And I went through the X, and I think he's done a decent job, and he can kind of run with that already. So that he's been doing it. So that's why it's like, if we could just kind of scoot in to continue doing that, helping out with that.
All right. So I'm hearing you nominate Victor. Man, tell me how to say his last name. Srinivastan?
Yeah, like just because he has been handling it, and that way it's like, that way I don't have to jump in and do it. It's like he can just continue, and I can just feed him information, and he can continue to do it. The other person I think that would be beneficial would be Francisco. I don't know. I think he's in here. Francisco, because he and I have already worked together on a bilingual video. So I actually have 3 videos already completed. And so he gave me a script in both English and Spanish. So I created a video in both English and Spanish that's ready to be put out on social media. But I want to basically discuss with the social media and communications committee just to make sure we have the green light and go. Because I don't want to be a one-man show or one-woman show. I want to be able to be like, hey, this is what I've got. Let's put it out there. So
okay.
Francisco would be another one, because he can help out with the bilingual part of that. I've got a couple others, but I don't know if I should go into those right now.
Right now we're at 5. So let me go to Chris here. Chris.
Thanks. I don't have a nomination. I do have one, I guess, I don't know if it's a point of order, but Mark Hinkle he dropped from the meeting. He's trying to get back in.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Admit. Thank you.
And then the other is just about filling the committees in general and making sure. I know once upon a time when I was on a previous XCOM, there was a 7-day requirement for it to be noticed that we were filling committees. And I don't know if that's still the case, but just want to bring that up just so it doesn't become a problem later.
Well, that's a fair point. Let's just to be safe, let's not fully fill the committee then tonight. Let's just get it started. And then that way that leaves some space for people who are passionate about getting involved. Richard.
I would like to nominate Wesley Martin. He's the former chair for the Libertarian Party of Humboldt County, and his work professionally is actually in media. I believe he's in the room here with us. He's been let in from the waiting room. If he would like to, I'd like to give him an opportunity to speak for himself to his qualifications.
Okay. Tell me again, Wesley what?
Martin.
Martin. Wesley, are you in the room?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Well, before I go to Tara, hit me with what you're about.
Okay, well, this is for the Communications and Media Committee?
In
Correct?
theory, yeah.
Okay, so I've been in media now for about 5 years. From 2019 until 2023, I wrote, directed, and produced the High Rollers Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu show for Pluto TV, Paramount Network. I am still under contract for with Paramount Networks until the end of the year, and been doing, television production full time, and it's a passion of mine. So when I saw the call go out for people in the media industry to come out and want to work with the Libertarian Party again, I thought, okay, this might be my chance to maybe help out a little bit and see where we can go.
All right. All right. Well, thank you very much. Tara.
I don't know if this would be the proper place, but I certainly want more than 7 people. And I'll tell you why. And I don't know. And the reason why is just something to consider if we can do that is because in order for this to be done really well, there's people that I want to be able to work where we're just kind of communication people that put it out there on those social media channels. Then there's other people that are going to be more production oriented. People like Wes that are going to be creating the content that's going to give to the other people that are going to be pushing it out on social media channels. So it's kind of a 2-part team. And so I really feel like there's some really strong bench strength here. People like, I can mention names like John Dew is a great one who's very like operations minded and big picture. And that's somebody who can think, and he can also do production as well. He's done videos as well. So people to do production, people to send it out to the different channels. So there's a kind of a 2-part system, but also people that are creatively can come up with wording as well to be able to put those messages together. So it's kind of like, I feel like I almost want more than 7 people, and I don't know if this is the right place to consider it or later on down the road.
All right. Well, it definitely sounds like competition is going to be fierce for these spots. So I think Rebecca has an interesting suggestion here, and I think that's probably reasonable and may thread the needle nicely for everybody here tonight. Clearly, Tara is a driving factor here. So I'm going to move that we appoint Tara Young to the Communications and Media Committee separately, and then we go ahead and reserve the other 6 spots for next meeting. Does that sound reasonable for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who seconded that? Terry, was that you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All in favor of appointing Tara Young to the Communications and Media Committee and saving the other slots for our next meeting, go ahead and say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
If
Those
you're
opposed?
muted, it won't count.
Those opposed? Okay. Is anybody abstaining? All right. Okay, Tara, congratulations. You are the Communications and Media Committee, and we'll look forward to having a conversation with you going forward about the other seats preparatory to the next meeting.
In the meantime, can I pull help with certain things?
Oh, 100%.
Like I said,
100%.
Okay.
There's the 7 open spots on the Communications and Media Committee does not mean only 7 people can communicate, right? Like
Okay.
there's lots of room for lots of people to do that stuff.
But we can, I think I saw a note in here somewhere that the committee can be expanded as long as it's not a bylaws mandated committee, correct?
We can have that conversation. Yeah. But let's deal with that as we get up, as we head toward the next meeting. Joe, you have your hand up.
So we have in our operating procedures manual definitions for most of these committees that specify a certain number of people are supposed to be on them. I believe the reason there are numbers like that is because those were considered a reasonable number of people to have enough representation so all the decision making isn't being made by one person. And on the other hand, being small enough that they can act in a timely way. I think we need to keep in mind that being a formal member of a committee is not the same thing as working on a project. So Tara mentioned there are production people who can contribute to media. Those don't all have to be on the, just because you're a good video editor doesn't mean you have to be on that. There are people who are creators of content, of text, images. Those people don't have to be on there. There's people who run particular social media channels. If they're good at running that, that's not the same thing as being on the committee. And one other role that was mentioned was mentioning Francisco. You want to be able to have Spanish versions of things. I don't know if he'd be willing to do things other than the videos, whether he'd be willing to translate press releases and things like that. But those things don't all have to be done by a committee member either. And you have other languages you want to translate, and you don't have to put everybody on the committee. So I don't think we should rush to say, oh, the Communications and Media Committee can have up to 74 people. 7 is probably enough for the committee. That doesn't mean we can't have 24 people working on them.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right. So we did communications. We'll continue to staff that out, and Tara, you and I can have a conversation this next week, and we'll talk about what to do with that going forward. All right. The convention committee is next. In the convention committee, we elect the chair, and then the chair gets to do whatever he wants. He can blow that committee up to however he wants. I know that we came out of Santanella with Terry volunteering to take point on convention organizing. So I'd personally like to nominate Terry Floyd to be the chair of the convention committee. How do you feel about that, Terry?
Oh, I guess I'm okay with that.
Fair enough. All right.
How does that relate to the work that the winning bid person had? I mean, maybe she wants to be the chair of the committee, or at least one of the members of it.
Well, I mean, and again, Terry has carte blanche. The convention committee chair has carte blanche to add as many people to his committee as he sees fit. So the point being that Terry would be the kind of the interface between them and us, which I think is a reasonable thing for somebody.
Well, then I want to hear what he thinks of the. We just approved a plan to have it in San Diego at a particular hotel, a plan that was proposed by a particular person. How does Terry, if he were the chair, how would he see interfacing with that plan, supporting that plan? Is he all gung-ho in favor of that plan?
All right.
How would he interface with Mimi, so forth?
Terry, I'm going to let you formulate your answer to that real quick because June has her hand up. So let me go to June, and then we'll come back to you to address Joe's questions. Terry, June.
Okay.
I would like to nominate Brandon and Mimi as co-chairs since they put this whole thing together. Brandon is a member of the exec comp, so he provides the communication with the committee. I don't mean to disparage any contribution that Terry might make. It's just I don't think we absolutely have to force him into this because we have 2 people who've already worked on it and are willing to continue working on it. End of bid.
Okay. All right. Terry, go ahead.
Thanks, June. No, I'm happy to work with anyone. Again, one of the reasons I'm happy that the San Diego bid was approved is again, I don't live down there. Brandon and Mimi do. They live in the area. So I would be more comfortable actually if they were running things themselves because I don't live anywhere near them. And we can communicate electronically and keep in touch all the time. But they would be hands-on at the site and I would not. So I think it's probably a good idea to have the 2 co-chairs as they were the ones. Brandon did the site visit. Mimi's worked with the hotel before. She dealt with her banquet person. So I think they should probably be taking the point on this.
Okay, so am I hearing you say that you'll decline being the convention committee chair?
You're correct.
Okay, fair enough. It is probably not super reasonable for us to have co-chairs simply because if they fight, then that's weird. Like Lewis and Clark were awesome, but they were also kind of unicorns. So it's probably best if we just go with one chair. But Joe?
So I will move to appoint Mimi Robson as the convention committee chair, and I would like to hear from her before I vote on my own motion, whether she would be willing, since she gets to make the appointments, to include both Brandon and Terry as part of that.
All right, Mimi, are you in the room still? I think you are.
I am here. I
All
will
right.
accept the nomination for chair. And I've already reached out to both Brandon and Terry to be involved and anybody else that would like to. So yeah, I want to work with anybody that wants to work to make this a really good convention. So yeah, but yes, I would like to be chair of this committee because I'm already reaching out to speakers and so forth. So yes, I accept, and I also say the other things.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Does anybody else want to try and nominate somebody for the convention committee? All right. Well, just the one then. Is there any objection to Mimi Robson being the chair of the convention committee? All right. Hearing none. Congratulations, Mimi. You are the chair of the 2026 LPCA convention committee. All righty.
I would say that's condolences, but yes.
It's all good. It's all good. Relentless optimism. That's what we're about. Relentless optimism. That's
Better you than me.
All right. Oh, Brandon, she's coming for you. All right. So the credentials committee, this is something that's going to need to be interfacing with the convention committee. Rebecca, as the secretary, is required to be on the credentials committee. There are 6 open slots behind Rebecca, but again, we could probably hang on to that one until next month. For our purposes here. The Financial Standards Committee is chaired by the vice chair. That's Pat Wright. So he's required to be there, and then he can find people to be on the committee, and we can approve them next month. The Historical Preservation Committee has 5 open slots with no one required to be there, except that Joe has a self-imposed requirement that he be on the Historical Preservation Committee, which I am happy to support him in doing. In fact, we could probably just go ahead and nominate Joe right now. I'll nominate Joe to be the chair of the Historical Preservation Committee. How do you feel about that, Joe?
I'm not asking for that. I mean, I'm already on the National Historical Preservation Committee, so I can do any historical stuff without being appointed. But I would like, at the time we're going to be filling the committee, I do want to be one of them.
Okay. Well, for our purposes here, just for the sake of that, is there any objection to Joe Dean as the chair of the Historical Preservation Committee?
Yeah, I object. It seems like Joe wants to do it next meeting after it's been noticed. So I just don't think it's necessary.
All right, fair. I'll go ahead and withdraw, but we're coming back for you, Joe.
And also the rules say that the executive committee elects 5 members, and then they choose their chair. So it would be improper for us to appoint. It's not like the convention committee is like the only one that's weird.
I did that whole thing wrong then. Never mind. Yeah. I said nothing. No sound came
Let's
from
just
my
wait
mouth.
until the next.
The Historic Preservation Committee will be selected at the next committee meeting. Okay. The Legislative Committee has 7 open slots. There's nobody required to be on that, but there are 7 open slots there for your consideration. The Membership Committee has me as the chair and the 3 area coordinators. They are all required to be on the membership committee. And then there are 4 open slots behind that for people to think about. The operations committee, we have already affirmed June, so the 5 members of the operations committee already exist. There is a program committee that we need to staff up. But again, there's not like specifically required people that need to be on that, but we'll tackle that next time. The recruitment committee, the chair has to be on that, so that's me. And then there are 7 other open slots on the recruitment committee, so for your consideration. The strategic planning committee has 5 open slots on it with no one required. And the website and IT committee have 5 open slots on it with no one specifically required. Though I think that a lot of you have probably heard something in there that you are already involving yourself in. So give some serious consideration to stepping in on one or more of those committees as you believe yourself ready to do.
Point of information.
Yes, June.
I know that both that in her role as secretary, Rebecca is working on some stuff. Pat has been working on some stuff, including the website. Do we need to officially make him webmaster?
We can.
I thought you did.
I think you're certainly the unofficial webmaster.
Unofficial, I'll take that.
Am
But
I-
it's been a really big problem, and I could use some help. And Mimi suggested hiring the person that she had back before because I believe Adrian, and much to his talent, had coded stuff where normal people don't code. So I don't really have access to a lot of this crap, and it's giving me a huge headache, and I could use some help.
I've got some folks who have actually asked about that. I'll send you some names,
Yeah,
Pat.
I've had 3 complaints, which I hate to get complaints about my work.
Well, that's fair. I've had some guys
It hurts.
reach out to me. I've had some guys reach out to me who are web guys. I'll see if I can connect you guys here going
All
into
right,
next
good.
week.
But I took all the negative stuff off the website, which I am most proud of.
Well done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Little kudos to me.
Kudos to you. All right. So that's run through the committees. We'll deal with more committees as we get into next month and beyond. Let's see if we can set up a regular meeting time.
Before we do, I want to get something else on the agenda. Is this an appropriate time or after you set up the next meeting?
In theory, the appropriate time to do that was at the beginning when we were adopting the agenda.
I thought it would come up under communications committee, but it hasn't because we've kind of left that in limbo.
What is it that you're looking to do?
Okay, I know that social media is taking over the world and I applaud everything that's being done there, but I'm old fashioned. I like press releases because they reach a different audience. All the stuff communications is doing is internal. It's only going to reach the social media community and the people who get into our websites. I would like to see a press release going out about this top 2 hearing in San Francisco. I think it's very important that we get a good turnout. Mimi is already working on it, but I don't know if we have any funds to go to support getting out a press release. Now, I know we no longer have a contract with EIN. We could authorize it. I think we need a vote on that. The cheapest is a one-time shot for 149,000, but for 500, we could get 7 over the course of the next year. And I don't think that would be necessarily a bad idea.
June,
the question is,
where is your decimal point? 149,000. Where is your decimal point? 149,000?
No, it's $149.
Okay, I heard thousand. I use send to press, and it's about the same.
Sorry, I don't talk so good at this hour.
Well, me
My
too.
mouth
I'm,
gets
I'm out of
dry.
wine too, but no one will get me any.
I'm confused
So,
by
I mean,
your
I-
connecting
yeah,
press
but do
release
we
with
have
getting
any
people to a
funds?
hearing.
Yeah, we really, I talked to Richard about it and the meeting site, he's checked it out. They can hold 80 people. And if we don't have a lot of people in there screaming, yeah, well, top 2 is bad and we need to get rid of it, the judge is going to ignore us. And I really think it's important that we get people there. And I think a press release is the best way to bring in a lot of people besides us.
All right, so the budget should be about $200 for a statewide press release. And I think we can afford
it's a matter
that.
of, well, the question is how. The only way I know to do it right now would be to get a one-shot EIN subscription, which would be $149. We could go that route, but as I
Okay.
said, I think it's a better financial deal if we have the money to buy the 5 plus 2 free for a whole year, and that would set us up to send out more press releases for the next 365 days up to the committee.
You know, I
Okay,
think we can
look-
afford it. So can someone make a motion to spend the money?
We might be getting there. Joe, you have your hand up, and then
Yeah,
Chris.
I'm in favor of press releases in general, but I'm really confused by this specific use. Why is a press release, which goes to the press, being touted as an efficient way to get people to the hearing? Seems to
Well,
me
hope is
getting
the-
people
the
to the
hope is to run
hearing,
it.
you want to reach the activists, not the media.
My hope is that the press release gets picked up and published, but I mean, I can't guarantee that either. Yes, what you're suggesting is also good. I'm not sure we're set up to do it yet. This is coming
Well-
up on the 22nd.
Well, I already sent it out to the northern counties and asked them to promulgate the information, and at least one of those counties has already forwarded the appeal to their county email list.
But has
If
anybody-
you
has
want to try
anybody-
to get people, I think the
There's
state
nothing in
party.
the press. I've checked. There is nothing in the press about this hearing. And
Well,
I
I
think
wouldn't
the only
expect them
way
to
to
be.
get
It's
it
just
in
like
the
a-
press is a press release.
Oh, okay. Let me get a couple of more comments here and see how this resolves. Chris, and then Mimi, and then Brandon.
Yeah, I
Point of
think
order, we didn't change the agenda. Why are we talking about this?
No, that's actually a really good point, Brian. Thank you. Unfortunately, we have not changed the agenda. The time for that really has passed.
No, you
And
can
Brian,
always change it by a 2/3 vote. If she wants to suspend the rules and change the agenda, we can
Then
and
have that
2/3 of us
vote,
vote.
but I
all
think
right,
the OPSCOM could handle
then
it.
I think this is probably something that the OPSCOM needs to handle. Unless June, you want to try and make a motion to suspend the rules and have us take this up right now.
I'm perfectly letting ops do it if they have the authority. I'm not sure we have the budget or the authority to spend money. That's what I'm concerned about.
Okay,
I think that
let's take this into a conversation with the operations committee, because we can probably move a little more nimbly on this and get it done without taking the time here tonight. We've been here a good long while. And you're part of the operations committee, June, so you're totally part of that. I look forward to your commentary. So let's talk about setting up a regular meeting time. The executive committee used to meet on a Monday night in the month. Is there anybody who is absolutely out on Monday nights?
I have no life.
Oh, I don't believe that for a second, Pat.
Believe me,
But,
it's true, yeah.
Richard, am I seeing your hand up because you are absolutely out on Monday nights?
Correct.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know about Monday night either.
We're talking about once a month kind of situation.
right. It's like a once a month kind of a situation, like first Monday or something. Is that something that somebody absolutely can't do as a first Monday? Brandon's thinking
Just
about
like
it.
Libertarian Party of LA meets the fourth Monday of each month.
Okay. So is that like too many Mondays, David, or what?
All right. How often are we meeting? Once a month?
Oh, it'll be once a month. Yeah.
Okay. So if it's not the fourth Monday, then LA people on the exec.com are good.
Okay. Richard, can you do the first Monday of a month?
Yeah, I can do one Monday, first Monday of the month.
All right. Joe.
So most weekday nights are a problem for me. I almost always have something on weekday nights, but some days are worse than others. And so I can't say I absolutely can't come, but I also don't like the idea of reserving any of those. Monday is one of the ones I'd especially not want. Maybe you could just do some kind of show of hands of which days of the week are most comfortable for the most people. Because I think when you did it before for this meeting, which of course might not be the same as a typical month, it looked to me like there were other days like Tuesday nobody seemed to have a problem with, but somehow you picked Friday. So maybe you just go through the days of the week and see which ones are.
Would you guys prefer that I set up another Google Doc like last time and everybody can talk about the thing that's absolutely off limits? And we'll pull together another meeting over the course of the next week once we get feedback from you guys. I'm seeing a lot of nodding in the windows. Chris.
Lauren, I had my hand up. I was just going to
Yes,
suggest
Chris.
that maybe we try to set, because our regular, monthly meeting might not be for another 3 or 4 weeks, that maybe we just set a next meeting for now. And then in the meantime, you can do a Google Doc or a poll or something and figure out something for a regular meeting. We can have a meeting in between then to vote or formalize that, and maybe populate some committees and do some of the other business that we didn't get to tonight.
So we're talking about mid-September sometime.
Yes. So let's talk about let's talk about the second week of September. Let's talk about the second week of September. That's the week of September 7th. My Wednesday is out for that. How are people's Tuesday, the 9th? Is there anybody who absolutely cannot do Tuesday the 9th?
Double check. Generally, Tuesdays aren't great for me, but usually what I have is later in the evening. So let me just double check.
Yeah,
the 9th happens. I'm wide open on the 9th. So
all right. I'm not seeing anybody raising their hand that the 9th is bad. So let's go ahead and schedule our next meeting for Tuesday the 9th. Is 6:30 still an okay time for everybody? All right, then let's go Tuesday the 9th at 6:30. And between now and then, I'll circulate another Google document. We'll get everybody's availability and we can see if we can settle into a regular time. All right. So everybody's got that on the calendar then?
Mm-hmm.
September 9th, Tuesday, will be our next executive committee meeting. So action items for that, or action items going forward here out of this meeting. Pat, you and I are going to talk about the redistricting thing. Tara, you and I are going to talk about communications committee stuff. Is there anybody else that I've missed there?
Yes.
Yes,
The ops
me.
con talking
Yes,
about
June.
it.
The OpsCom is going to talk about the top 2 thing. You're absolutely right. Okay, so
And
thank you.
actually, yes, me. You and I have to talk about getting the contract finalized with the hotel.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I should be getting new debit cards in the mail this week so that we can take care of that.
Can I would also want to add, very importantly, am I there? Okay,
Yep.
Candidates for next year, which is coming up very, very soon. There are couple of people running for governor who do not present well, excuse me. I think we need to encourage, and I wish I had Lars. He's a friend of yours, right, Lauren?
I think Chris
Lars
probably tighter
is
than
not
me.
running for governor.
We've
Yeah.
got to find someone. I mean, we should find a whole slate, but a governor candidate, because there are people out there running who do not present well. And I think that's what we're all about. They'll all be lost in the primary, but I think we need to organize and get a slate and get people encouraged and support them. I know when I was a statewide candidate, I didn't get any support from the LPC, which made me drop out for 25 years. But I think that should be on our agenda. And time is running out.
Okay. That is certainly something that we can be approaching going forward.
I hope we have a good candidate for governor, even though we all know that, the top 2, we're going to wash out. But still, be proud to be a libertarian and present your best foot forward.
Make it happen.
Yes.
All righty. So that last bit that's the regular meeting time is our last thing on the agenda. So thank you all very much for your time and your patience and your endurance. I appreciate
Also,
it.
Lauren,
Yes, Pat.
I do see your laundry basket in the background. You've got the Aurora Borealis, but sometimes your laundry basket appears.
Oh man, really? Am I moving around too much? And my laundry basket's in the
I don't
back?
know. I'm glad you have laundry to do too.
Ignore the basket behind the curtain. Ignore the basket behind the curtain. All right. So motion to adjourn.
Thank you all.
Thank
you, Lauren. Good meeting, Lauren.
All right. We're good. A second objection to adjourning. All right. We're adjourned at 8:38. Thank you all very much.
Thanks all.
Well done, young man.
Yes. Very well done.
Well,
Much
thank you.
appreciated.
All right. We will see you all on the 9th, if not before, for those of you who I'm seeing before in the future.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. I'm going to stop the recording and we'll go ahead and close this thing out.